Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to Under the Cloche Live with James Currie, where we're going to get under the skin. We're going to learn about the real James Currie here. We're going to learn about the person, and it's going to be a wonderful change of pace to what just happened on the live.
Jarring change of pace.
Jarring change of pace.
I think we all did a great job, though. Can we say that we did a great job?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we did, actually. I think we worked really well together.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, that was a real team effort. Something that actually has been quite prevalent throughout the entire of this weekend thus far.
It's been very, very collaborative. We're working together to achieve things. What's really funny is we're all working together now, but we don't know which teams we're working together towards.
Exactly.
I really enjoyed cooking against Kush and not having a winner. That was good.
Yeah, I don't know if that was supposed to happen. It's just Ebba loves sitting on a fence.
It's lovely. Like,
it's
you guys,
lovely.
The community, are steering this as we go. We're all in it together. We just want to have a lot of fun and hang out together, which is exactly what we're going to do here now. So many of you requested, especially after our Kush episode of the podcast, that we have to get this man on and we have to start from the very beginning and hear about all of James's journey and how he got into cooking. And so we're going to do that right now. And we're going to start off with the same question we ask all of our guests, which is...
Should have watched one of them before.
Thank you for your support. So, can you describe what your ultimate foodgasm is? So this can be hypothetical, you can draw upon previous experience, but where are you eating? What are you eating? Who maybe are you eating it with, and why is it so special?
That's a good question. You said foodgasm, so not necessarily eating, although eating is involved.
Yeah, like what's the dish and where are you?
I don't think I can give a dish, but I can give a situation.
Okay.
We can help you populate the dish. So
we can work up to it.
Again, teamwork.
You can use your imagination.
Okay.
I love cooking on my own.
Wow, that's the first time we've had someone give that as an answer.
Yeah, great.
So I go on quite a few. I go on a few group holidays every year with friends, and we usually assign ourselves nights to cook for the group. And I love everyone else kind of like having a drink or whatever and coming in and out of the kitchen, but I'm just like on my own cooking, and that's my happy place.
Yeah.
I always say I became a chef because I prefer to be with the food and cooking and showing my love that way than like chatting to people and getting involved in a big group situation, socialising like that.
It's a really interesting perspective because I think we always talk about the togetherness and the joy that you get from food and everything that comes around it and the cooking element. Yeah. And like we have seen a couple of times over this weekend so far, sometimes when you're cooking together, it's more stressful than it is when you are cooking by yourself because you're in control, you're going at a pace that...
Previous format, I would not agree.
No?
I found it more stressful cooking on my own, but I do completely get that. I'm actually very similar.
I like it, yeah. I mean, I feel bad because sometimes we're assigned, like, teams.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, no, it's fine, I'll do it. It's all right, I'll do it.
Okay, so whereabouts, because I know that you do lots of Scandinavian trips. So
I have done in the past, not recently, unfortunately.
So where's the types of places that you're going with your other group?
The two
of
that
mates?
come to mind are in the Alps, like a chalet in the Alps.
Lovely.
And the other one is France.
Love.
Just in the countryside in France in a big kind of like barn house thing.
Okay. Now we're going to press you. What are you cooking for all those people?
Is there a style of food that you're going to go
I can
for?
tell you what I did this year actually because
Yeah.
I've been on 2 holidays this year with these guys, and the first one it was a ski chalet, and they have massive ovens in this chalet. Like, it's a really nice kitchen, and they've got trays that fit the entire oven. So I did a tartiflette with a pan about that big.
Can you just quickly summarise what a tartiflette is?
I did potatoes, onion, garlic. It wasn't like a traditional tartiflette. It was like a very just like ad hoc thing. But it was like potatoes, onion, garlic, bacon. Although I have to keep the bacon separate because there's always dietaries. So there's like veggies or whatever. So it was mushroom actually. So I did a mushroom tartiflette for this one. And then just so much cheese on top.
Yeah.
Because you're in France, you want to buy good cheese.
Have to.
So just like absolutely covered it in cheese, just chucked it in the oven and just served it in the middle of the table.
As I just said, that's his foodgasm.
You should come next year.
You do not mean that. Hi, everyone.
You could teach me to ski.
Lovely.
So that was what we did in the chalet, and then the other one was I cooked like a pasta arrabbiata type thing. I did that twice this year actually because I went away with my family as well and cooked a similar thing.
See, I knew we'd be able to get you down to an answer. I think sometimes it's
absolutely.
such a big question, it's hard to figure it out. But actually, once you start to funnel it down, you can get there. Now, the thing is, I don't know how many people like within the community or know this, but food wasn't always front of mind for you. You didn't start out life as a foodie. Am I right in thinking that when you went to university, you actually started studying computer science?
You are.
Oh, look at this memory.
Done your great research over 12 years or whatever. However long we've known each other.
Yeah.
Yes, I didn't do anything with food until I was 19.
So, in terms of like making that choice, because we all get to, whether it be 16 where you leave school to get a job, or you go to college, or you can go to university later on.
Yeah.
Did you have an idea set out, or was it similar to me where you sort of hit the age groups where you needed to make a decision and you prolonged that decision until you had to choose something to go and either study or move into?
I was so lazy in school.
You know it.
You were hardly never at school.
Yes, I was.
You were in my form group, but I didn't realise it for 3 years because you were never there.
I got hit by a car and I had severe neck problems.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's for my episode.
He ran out across Darks Lane.
I did.
In front of the car. Yeah, it was his fault. He mentally scarred the driver for life as well.
I probably did.
Which is far
Well,
worse than your
actually-
physical injuries.
Yeah. So it was completely self-inflicted. But this is not about me. This is not about me.
I turned up to every lesson and I just didn't do anything outside of those lessons.
So what made you choose computer science? Because you thought...
Because I loved video games.
Okay.
I still love video games.
Yeah.
I still like video games, but I loved video games and I wanted to make games.
Okay. And now this is where the food bit becomes really interesting for me, because I remember a story that we always...
tell that story?
Yeah, we have to tell that story.
Oh, no.
That you were at the point where you didn't even know how to boil pasta.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did know how to boil pasta, but I was too scared to get to the place where I was able to boil pasta.
The kitchen.
The kitchen. So I was in university halls, and I was 18, and I was too intimidated to go the 5 feet from my room to the communal kitchen.
Why?
To boil the pasta, because
Once you're in the kitchen, people
I was
are
quite
there
shy.
looking. Oh, okay.
And it was the first time I, actually lived on my own, and also I didn't really know how to cook.
Yeah.
So
You tried.
I had a kettle in my room and I had a sink. You know those university halls
Yeah.
that you've got a sink in your room. So I boiled the kettle and I had a bowl and I put the dry pasta in a bowl and then I poured the kettle over the pasta.
And you kept on reboiling it.
I just let it sit for like 5 minutes and then I drained it. And as it was sitting, I reboiled the kettle. And I did it again. And, an hour later, you've got perfect
Perfectly al dente.
And then just drizzle a little bit of cold Dolmio sauce over it.
The stir-ins.
Yeah.
Stir it in, yeah. Don't heat that or anything, that would be silly. And require a kitchen. And that was my dinner. That was one time. That was
One time.
Yeah, iconic.
Yeah, but how did
Otherwise, I was microwaving nachos.
But how did you get from James Currie, who can't boil pasta, to James Currie, who...
Knocked up what you did on the beach with 3 mystery tins earlier, which was epic.
Yeah, that is funny, isn't it? I don't know. In my second year of uni, I was moving to a house, and I thought I should probably try and contribute. And over the summer, I decided to learn to cook, and I got a Gordon Ramsay cookbook and just started cooking dishes out of that, and also started cooking dishes that my mum, who wasn't a particularly keen cook, would cook, and I'd just cook and like shout at her in the other room, asking her what I do next. Like make a chili.
You're doing a remote control chef. You and your mum invented
basically,
remote control
yes,
chef.
yes, that's exactly what happened.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, just before we move into food a little bit more, you've kind of, I mean, we obviously know you, but at that time, you've talked about being shy, and even in your foodgasm, you'd rather be alone in the kitchen showing appreciation to a group than actually being in the thick of the group.
Yeah.
I mean, genuinely, having become really great friends and having you on something like this where the cameras are on, that wouldn't actually come across, I think, especially in this weekend, because you've actually been as one of us as ever. But is that something that you've always been, you've been conscious of, or you describe yourself, like, how would you describe yourself?
I think I was like, at uni, I was voted least likely to become a celebrity chef. I'm quite shy and I don't like being in front of cameras, so...
And look at this!
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not something that comes naturally. And I think it's something, when I was at Sorted, I worked really hard to become better at.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've regressed a little bit. I feel like I can still kind of jump into it.
That is incredible, though.
It's hard.
It's a massive shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, for having that sort of innate personality type, and then doing what I feel like I ended up maybe a little bit forcing you to do, which I never meant to.
You've been my biggest fan.
I have, because I was just like, what this
all of this is you're doing.
But I was just thinking, you're just great, and your insight and the way you look at food and the way you describe it and the way you cook would just be so valuable to us on screen, but also the community, that sort of step by step from going to, I'm going to tell you what's on the channel this week. Hello, it's me. Then,
that was a turning point, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I just... James getting fixed. James getting fixed.
Look, we're fine, so no content will be at jeopardy.
I would never have thought that I would be doing this in my life.
Okay.
And it's not something that comes naturally to me.
So you started getting into food, and then you just changed courses midway through university.
Yeah, I didn't even finish my second year. I did my second year, but I didn't take any of the exams. I was applying for university. I was applying for food colleges.
Yeah.
And I dropped out. My family were really supportive. My grandpa found the course that I eventually ended up doing, which is the same course as Kush and Ben. And that's the rest is kind of... That's it. I just loved it. I'd had to do a bridging course between like academic and culinary skills. So I had the academic skills to do the university side of things, but I didn't have any of the culinary skills or knowledge to actually like be able to cook the food.
So you just went...
We did like 8 weeks.
Intense.
I made some of my best friends in those 8 weeks.
Oh, really?
So it was like really intense, yeah. And we were in the university halls on our own. Just like 20, 30 of us or something.
Because I think that's one of the things that we've read, like from people in the community who've said that they want to get more into the cooking side of things, want to become a chef, and they've seen there's kind of different routes to go. You either go down like a university route, or you go down the practical route of going and working in kitchens and working your way up. And people who want to go the university route because they want the education side as well are worried that they don't have any experience. And I know it's something that Ben said, is that so many people on his course wanted to do the course but didn't have the experience, so they did that intense 8 weeks, and it kind of brings you up to where you need to be to start the course at a base level.
Yeah, and obviously you need some interest in food beforehand, I guess. But I kind of like fast-tracked that. But I think, I said I was lazy in school, and I suddenly, like, I knew this was a passion because I wasn't lazy anymore. I worked really, really hard. And I think that's really important. If you want to do that route, you have to work really hard at it, because people will be ahead of you, because you can start working in a kitchen at 16 or whatever, and you can be a pretty accomplished chef by 20.
Yeah.
or you can have had a lot of experience in that environment, whereas I was coming into it at 19, 20 with zero experience. So you have to work really hard. And also I think I fell into a really good career for my trajectory into it, because I think I'd have still been behind if I'd gone into professional kitchens. Well, I could easily have worked up, but...
Yeah. Well, did you have a career path in mind, or did you just want to work with and around food?
I feel like everyone who starts the course that I did, I don't know if Kush and Ben can attest to this, but everyone starts the course wanting to work in like, I don't know, Michelin star kitchens or whatever. And then everyone realises it's actually really hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard work. It's not very well paid.
Long hours,
yeah.
hot.
And people do it for the love of it. And you know people who are working in those kitchens are doing it for the love of it, you know? Like people are looking for those top end kitchens. And a lot of people on my course, like, number one, people didn't get to the end of it because it's also a hard course. And number two, people started looking at other options. So people start looking at development, people start looking at pub management or restaurant management and stuff like that, maybe going front of house. And there are not many people. I think I know one person who is still a chef from my course.
Really?
Like, still a restaurant chef.
So at that point, what did you think your aim was going to be?
I went in there thinking I was going to work in Michelin star kitchens or something. And I don't think that necessarily changed that much until the fourth year when we started thinking about jobs. And I wanted to earn money.
Yeah.
And I applied for a load of development jobs, but also, you're going to hate this. Ben came into the university.
Your Lord and Saviour.
Well, no, the Lord and Saviour.
He wasn't my Lord and Saviour, but he did have a shrine.
He had a statue.
I walked past Ben's shrine multiple times over the course of my university.
Guy.
Who is that guy? What are these books? These silly books in a glass cabinet.
He keeps giving away for free.
UK TV's Ben Ebrell.
TV's Ben Ebrell. I knew all about. No, I didn't. I didn't know anything about him. And he came in to do a talk. And there were lots of people who did talks, and they're interesting. But he was the only one.
But not him.
He was the only one that came in, and I listened to him, and I was like, I would like to do that. It sounds like he's built a really good little niche for himself. He's basically created a job where he gets to cook whatever he wants, and hopefully he probably didn't make any money out of it at that point, but
No.
One day he might. But he's still waiting. But he came in, and the way he talked about it was that you guys got to. I don't think you two were actually involved at that point.
Were we?
Probably not full. I don't think
not full time. Like involved. Obviously, you were from the
weekends.
The first weekends and stuff. But I think after I started, you became full time, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm actually technically the fifth member because you started before me.
No, because I stuck around for a year waiting for a full time job.
You did lots of freelancing.
Who's this guy coming in getting a full time job?
Just swan.
I've been here for ages. I'm sure I could do the camera bit. I can hold a camera.
You probably could. It's why I knew nothing.
So I was thinking, so when you started at Sorted, and you waited a long time for a full-time job because at that point there wasn't.
Yeah, you didn't have anything. Yeah, you didn't.
There wasn't.
I spent. We can backtrack, and I spent a summer writing one of the books with Ben and another chef who was working with Ben, and and then I kind of just hung around and took whatever you had going, development-wise.
Can I ask one question for the audience listening and watching? How did you so Ben did the talk? What happened for you to end up with us?
Yeah, that's interesting. Nothing to do with that talk, apart from the fact that I knew of Sorted.
Yeah.
But I think what happened was I worked hard, and I got the attention of one of the university lecturers who happened to be in contact with Ben, and he was looking for someone for that book, and she said, I've got someone really good for you.
The way
That
Ben
was it.
tells that story is that he went to the university and asked who is the top person in this year.
That is actually true.
That is about to
Ben is very generous.
That is about to graduate.
I'm sure
And
Ben is
it
very
was,
generous.
unfortunately, the first 3 people had already got jobs. But they said, there's this guy.
I can name 2 people already that are better than me.
But no, they said that James was like top of the class kind of thing and would be really keen to do something. And they put him in touch.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a really nice thing in that it feels like 50%. It's a perfect like bridging of like starting a relationship, which is you wanted it as much as Ben wanted it,
It's like
and you meet in the middle.
It's a dream job.
I didn't mean
We're still talking about a job.
It was mutual consent, yes.
some kind of job, yeah.
Right.
It was mutual consent.
Mutual consent. That's what what I was getting. at.
Yeah, you weren't forced. He didn't force your hand.
He didn't. He did not.
No, that's good. But when the full-time job came along, and this is the bit that really makes me
It's going downhill.
really makes me laugh, is that there was a lot of recipe development and cooking going on, but over the years, that wasn't really your job.
Well, because you didn't have a food job.
No, and so we're like, what else could we get James to do? Because he's really good, and there will be some cooking
I
to
should
do.
take that as a compliment.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're like,
yeah.
there will be more recipe development to do when we do the next book or when we've got this coming out. In the meantime, do you want to help us develop an app?
Well, no,
The first
that's
app,
not how it
even-
happened.
No?
No, because I got the social media management job.
Yes, you did.
The app was just like a little side hustle.
The app was a figment of Barry's imagination at that point.
Yeah, that's true,
No,
yeah.
it was social media.
Yeah.
You were replying to people on, on
Well, like,
Twitter and Facebook.
Maybe some people remember that I interacted daily on Twitter and Facebook.
There's going to be a lot of disappointed people that they weren't around back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be that guy.
Used to be
I
that
used to
guy.
work with you.
And then we did the Lost and Hungry tour.
Yes.
Which is where we went around America for 3 months, and the whole setup was that we weren't allowed to go anywhere or eat anything unless it had been recommended to us by the community. Yeah. And this was 9 years ago, and so it was
It's wild.
unbelievable. We were filming it for the YouTube channel. We also somehow managed to convince the Today Show in America that we could send them a video each week, which they aired each
So
week.
glad I wasn't on camera at that point.
That
would have been so intimidating to.
It was unbelievable. But we started in LA and we did San Francisco, and we went all the way across, basically, didn't we?
we all
went
up a little bit as well. Like,
everywhere.
Yeah.
But you were doing the social media. You were writing blogs.
Taking photographs.
And there were 2 stories that really stuck out to me about that, and they're both connected. Was that we sent you with Barry's dad, Ray, to go and get the hire car.
Oh, yeah.
And the way Ray tells it is that he was like, "Don't worry, James, I've got this." And as he walked away, you said, "We've got all of the luggage."
I think, for context.
Oh, we had a fridge.
Yeah.
We had the little fridge.
Context, Ray is Barry but slightly older.
Basically,
It's amazing how similar they are.
Yeah.
They're great. Like it's perfect.
And so you turned up at this hire car place. And you're like, right, well, we've got all of the guys' suitcases. We've got the mini fridge for fridge cam.
I can't hear you, James. I'm in there. I'm at the counter.
And what did he come back round the corner with?
With a Mustang or something crazy like that.
2-seater.
Open top, 2-seater Mustang. It's like, yeah, it'll be fine. So we've got all the
It was
luggage.
fine.
Got all the luggage in the back, and there's just this fridge just sitting on top.
Bright red, wasn't it?
Yeah, bright red.
So cool.
Yeah,
There was something.
so cool.
There was something else that was bright red by the end of the day. You're not going to get a Mustang and have the roof up, are you?
No.
Yeah, we were going ahead of you guys. We were doing recce's.
And the one recce which stands out is the vineyard, which was halfway up through like California, in between LA and San Francisco.
Yeah.
Los Olivos.
No, it
Rings
was
a bell.
something.
It's Roblos.
Robles, yeah.
Paso Roble.
That's a Roble, yeah.
So you had gone ahead of us. We were filming something. I can't remember.
You went to get
got
ice
held
cream,
up.
I think.
Or was it the ice cream?
Yeah, I think
we'd got a recommendation to go and get some.
Out of your way to get ice cream.
We got a recommendation for some ice cream, which was about 30 miles east of where we were. But the tweet said, like, this is the best ice cream that you'll ever have, kind of thing. It's like, right, we'll go here. What we would really like to do is try some Californian wine. We've heard a lot about it. We've heard that the Paso Roble area is a really good area to get wine. Tell you what, James, Ray, could you go ahead and just find a vineyard owner who is happy to chat to us
Easy.
on camera. How did that go?
Oh, I don't even know how many vineyards we visited. Honestly, we went around. From what I remember, we just went around vineyard after vineyard and couldn't get anything. And then we just found this unbelievable place, like on top of a hill. And the guy was just sitting outside drinking wine. And he was like, yeah, sure. And we were like, yes, this is it. Like the background is perfect. It's stunning, yeah. And this guy obviously was like super passionate and interesting, and we were chatting to him. And as we were chatting to him, he was just drinking wine. And you guys were quite late. And by the time you got there, he had drunk so much wine.
He was bright red.
You could barely understand what he was saying.
He was talking to us with his eyes closed. But we were getting half an hour phone calls. We were about 2.5 hours behind you guys.
Are you?
Seriously, this guy's not going to be able. This guy won't be awake by the time you turn up. Hurry up! And
great.
He actually was really interesting. But he did talk to us.
I thought we'd nailed it.
With a bright red face and his eyes closed.
What he said was very good. How he said it and how he looked whilst he was saying it was not good. I just remember you sending the video off to the Today Show, and I think I sent it off because I was like doing all the management of it. Sent it off, and the email that we got back from the producer was, "It's all great. Have you got any more shots of the vineyard owner with his eyes open? And not slurring as much?"
Yeah.
No, we don't actually. No, that's get what you get. But lots of B-roll went over that.
Good times.
Good times.
So then we ended up, we'll fast forward, all the sorted stuff happens, far more on-screen stuff. Involved in not only like cooking on screen, but also bits of like hosting and stuff, which is something you've got to figure out. It's a completely different, I don't want to call it a skill set, but it's a completely different technique of how you get across concise information clearly.
100%. And I think one thing I've really like picked up on since I left Sorted is you guys have just like gone like that with presenting.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, it's like so noticeable. So yeah, like I think I worked really hard, and it's obviously something you can actually build skill in. But you guys have just like taken it to another level since I left, I think.
Oh,
really, I do. Yeah.
I didn't realise that happened.
No, watching you like learn lines and then just deliver them like that, it's just really.
Yeah, that is an anomaly for me.
Oh, it's great! It's amazing, and even if they don't come out exactly what's on paper, like they always come out smooth, and you work together and you bounce off each other. It's cool.
Oh, well, look. So a couple of weeks ago, we asked you to film a little video, and then I asked you to film another one where you didn't look like you'd been held hostage.
That's what I mean. I left and I just like, I don't practice anymore, and it was terrible.
No.
I was like, they posted that. Fine, cool.
We posted the second version where we asked the community to ask you some questions. And as we're getting to this part of the conversation, I think you can probably imagine where the conversations and where the questions want to go.
Not exactly.
It focuses around you leaving.
Oh, I thought it was going to focus around food.
And I think the last time that we properly spoke about this was when we did what was essentially a public exit interview.
Right, okay.
Where we've...
I thought you made him a cake.
The last time we spoke about it was with Hold Up Boards, no?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, Christmas.
Yeah. Thought about that. But we sort of talk about, and I feel like at that point, which was 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I don't remember the exit interview.
No, but it was kind of like, it was very, I don't want to say raw, but it just happened and we were all going through it, processing it and going through it at the same time. And I think a lot of the questions that people wanted to know is 3 years down the line, I think it's really nice for us all to reflect on it.
Oh no, we're getting so old.
Did you make the right decision?
Oh, that's so deep. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I did. Because I think had I stayed, I'd have still been wondering if I was very good at my job. Mm-hmm. It's because I came to Sorted, started social media, did all the app stuff, like did a load of different stuff, and then focused on development, and then it progressed into on-screen. So like, development chef, stroke on-screen chef, and stuff like that. And that was my entire career for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I left university on Friday and I came to Sorted on Monday, and that is like my career. And I'd worked in kitchens while I was in university, and we had like a sandwich year where we worked in kitchen, where I basically I learned a lot of my culinary skill there. But yeah, like I spent 10 years at Sorted, and there's a point where, and I think we're also a little bit more insular when I was there. Like you guys have branched out and you're kind of a bit more on the culinary scene now. But I think we were very like YouTube and not that involved in any food
external,
like the London food scene or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was just like, am I good at what I do, or have I just happened to progress within the company because I was there?
Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's interesting. Yeah.
We would have told you you're amazing. Please stay. But that is an amazing. I think that's a really bold decision to leave something that probably could be viewed as comfortable. It's not easy.
You know what? I would actually say I think I left a dream job.
Okay.
Because that is my dream job. Like writing cookbooks, being able to develop food essentially without a budget, because although you always have a budget for a video or whatever, you're not trying to make money on the food. You're not having to worry about overheads in terms of people serving food and eating it and paying for it. Like we're developing it for camera, so it's like
it's the best you can do. Or
exactly. Make the best paella ever, or make the best of this, or make something absolutely crazy in a toolbox, or I genuinely think that's my dream job, and I left it, which sounds really odd.
You said it was worthwhile. So why? Like what have you gone on to? And
I feel like I haven't necessarily made any wild progression or developed as a chef or whatever, but I think I'm more comfortable knowing that I can hold my own in the world outside of this crazy Sorted world.
That's
and,
amazing.
And I still get to come back.
Absolutely.
So I'm still getting the best of both worlds. And I've also not stayed at the same job. So I've moved around, experienced different things.
Would you be willing to tell us the types of things that you've gone on to do and perhaps some of the experiences? Because they are interesting.
Yeah, actually, that's probably a good idea, because I think we were very ambiguous about what I was moving on to. A lot of people assumed that I was moving on to work in restaurants, and we never really said yes or no to that.
Have the right to say.
Yeah, of course. No.
So I think just didn't.
We all framed it up as
professional, proper chef,
a professional kitchen or proper chef.
Yeah.
Well, because of the reasons that you gave us, which was, I just want to go and I want to go and experience exactly how I am in the
real world,
professional food world, in the real world.
So I went on to I stayed in recipe development, so no restaurant work. I went on to continue writing recipes for a meal box company. So the companies that deliver all your ingredients, and then you cook from those ingredients from a recipe. So I was writing lots of recipes, managing a team of chefs and stuff like that. And then I've also joined a crazy startup last year or the year before, which was delivering, taking on delivery and delivering fast food, but cooking it outside your home instead of in a dark kitchen.
It was like you were delivering a chef.
Yeah, you're basically delivering a chef and they're cooking it, but it was a lot. it was a lot.
Yeah, I mean, how did you find that in terms of? Because I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you were that early on in a startup. Again,
man,
did you?
This is pretty different.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was intense. I didn't have a day off for the first 2 months, and it was. I
didn't know he'd be willing to do that.
No.
If only we'd known.
You could have rinsed so much. You could have rinsed me.
I think we rinsed you enough.
It was a hard one. It was different to Sorted. It was very I think Sorted was born out of a creative idea, and this was born out of numbers.
Okay.
And metrics and stuff like that. So it was a really interesting experience, and it taught me that I could still do the hours because it was a service business. So you do your day of development. So I was doing all the development, doing all the production. So I was writing all the recipes, developing all the food. I was doing all the production kitchen stuff. I was ordering everything. I was doing food safety. I was doing the service.
Wow. So and then you were being driven.
I did nine.
Truck
I did 9 to 6, and then I did 6 to 11.
Wow.
And it was interesting. With people that I never met as well. Like we didn't have time to build the friendship. It was just like straight in.
Wow.
I think it's
yeah.
For me, it's really nice that we can have this conversation now, 3 years down the line, and look back on what you've been through since then. Because also, like when we made the announcement, like when you told us, and I think it was one of the big things is I really kicked myself after you told us, because as soon as you said, guys, can I have a chat with you? It was like at the end of a work day.
He took me for a walk.
I know, and you had to spend the whole day knowing without telling us.
And I was like, oh no.
But it was the end of the day, and you went, guys, just before you go, can I chat to you about something? And in my head instantly went to, James is leaving. Okay, how do we deal with this? What are we going to tell the community? How do we make sure that they don't think this is the end of anything else? It's just James leaving. And I went there before I went to, I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
And I felt so guilty in the kind of like the days after that. And I think like I nipped it in the bud as soon as my head went there, and I kind of like congratulated you, because all we wanted to be was happy for you. And we were incredibly happy for you, but also then trying to process, well, what does this mean for us and what we do and how we explain it to everyone else. And then when we did that kind of like exit interview style video that I think just went up on the community tab, actually, it was one of those things where it's like, the way that we were talking about it was, obviously you're going to be back, you're going to be coming back, you'll come in for filming days and you'll come to different things that we do. But we didn't know if that was going to be possible. It was kind of like, we all wanted that to happen.
We willed it into existence, didn't we? Because we really wanted it.
Yeah, I don't remember the first time I actually came back. I mean, it was a while, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a while, because you had to settle into your new job, and then say, can I take a day off so I can go back to my old job?
Yeah, I must have taken a day off, yeah. Yeah.
You're taking annual leave to come back to this.
What I do now.
Yeah, you do.
It was just one of those things, it's like, we all want this to happen, but we're all sitting there going, I don't know how plausible that really is. And we really hoped it would be. It's so nice to be able to sit here 3 years later and look back at everything we've done together in the last 3 years. Yeah. You went to the Alps with Baz and Ben and Tom last year and did that massive...
He invited me on a ski trip.
Yeah, that was what it was.
And he was like, oh, by the way, we're filming 3 videos. He's right there, by the way. He's right there. He's in the room. I think I skied for about half an hour.
But it is mad. I love that we can call you up and be like, mate, we're putting on a weekend. It's going to be incredible. Yeah. It's all live. Do you want to be involved? And I know we joke that you turn up on the weekend not knowing what's happening. That's actually true.
That's true.
You don't know what's happening. But you say yes anyway. Like you say yes before
100%,
you know what's going to happen.
I mean, I'm now in a position where I get to work with people that I want to work with. Like I kind of went freelance last year. I'm semi-freelance now, and it means that I have the capacity to say yes a lot more, which is why we did that video at the end of last year.
Yeah.
Because I knew I was in a position where I could actually come in more.
And you could be in a month's worth of videos pretty much, which is amazing. It was so good. It was so nice to have you back. I mean, like, if you were able, this probably is a little bit too deep, especially for a weekend like this, but looking back on everything and the different journeys and, you know, how you feel like you've progressed, what would you say that you've learned from the very beginning, say from leaving school up until this point? What have you learned the most about yourself?
Oh wow, I'm supposed to say something really deep.
No, you're not. No, it could be.
Whilst you do this, I'm going to look up some community comments. There's some questions coming in.
Okay. You're on your phone, but you're in. That's fine.
Listening to your.
He's checking the England score. That's what he's doing.
We're losing.
You're joking.
No, we can't.
You're kidding me.
I'm not kidding.
It doesn't matter what you say. What have you learned?
What have I learned about myself?
Yeah.
Well, don't care about football.
Better.
What have I learned about myself? I didn't know. I mean, I am a very introverted person, and I've learned that doesn't mean you can't do things that are traditionally seen as something extroverted, I guess, like this. I shouldn't hide away in the kitchen all the time, because good things happen when you don't.
Yeah.
Although you just forced me out, and it's great.
Were there, this is one of the community questions, were there any moments where Mike was like, oh, not you, but Mike, we all know. So we've got this idea for a video. Like back when you were full-time,
Always,
like,
mate.
we've got an idea for a video. And you went, no, I'm not doing that. Because you said yes to Sia. So if you would say yes
Everyone's seen that.
Everyone's seen that today.
If you'd say yes to Sia, what did you say no to?
Was there anything that I said no?
I don't think there was anything.
I think there were things... When I first started getting on camera, like in my head, I probably didn't say it because I was just thinking it. I was just like, are we actually going to do that? And then, you become numb to it. You become numb to Mike's ideas. And eventually he says something so outlandish that anyone else would be like, what? And you're just like, yeah, sure, yeah. Okay, that's what we're doing, yeah.
You
okay.
have an incredible way of making people comfortable with something that is so uncomfortable. And the way that you do it is generally by doing it yourself as well.
Well, yeah,
or putting yourself in a worse situation.
It's a good way to say...
I have sat on a sofa with a mic attached to my chest hair.
Whilst I thrust...
I'm 90% sure that was Mike's idea.
Yeah, it was.
Whilst I thrust on you and then did this.
Oh, that's not even the Sia. That's a different...
was that?
completely different video. That was like when Mike was like, let's get James on camera. And the best way to do it was I get a little segment in Fridge Cam explaining what was going on in the week. And I think something was happening to do with bedtime or what we sleep
Ben was in his pyjamas or Barry.
And I was like, I
clothes
sleep
on.
naked. And they were like, great. Well, we need so much about Mike. So, go watch that video.
There's also people talking about the, famously, one of the only videos that Sorted's recorded but never been able to put out.
Yeah.
Because you were too grumpy in it.
I honestly can't imagine it was that bad. Although, that's probably one of the worst formats that we've done.
The step up to the plate.
Yeah, because you have to make such a convoluted dish to make it worthwhile.
And
that was a really bad idea, Mike.
I'm going to stand up for James because it wasn't that he was grumpy. I think when we watched the edit or when we watched the footage back, James just couldn't get his head around what we're doing has no meaning. Like, we've tried to link it, but it's so tenuous. It was The Rock. So we had to make something a dish for The Rock and then give little links into, anything from wrestling to movies to...
Do you remember what we made?
No, I don't. But
I didn't even know this video existed.
French toast.
Yeah, French toast, and I don't know why.
I'm getting angry.
I think it was more that in that you couldn't even find a reason for you to buy into doing it, and you were just confused throughout, and therefore we were like, look, no one's benefiting from this. It was probably a bad idea. Let's just shelve it. So it wasn't from.
I didn't
you being
actually
grumpy.
remember that happened. I didn't remember we didn't put the video.
It shows how good our memories are. But the community know that
Instantly.
the chest hair was from the cereal battle, the ultimate cereal battle.
Yes.
And it was in that video.
Because you're in your pyjamas.
Pyjamas, yeah. I remember pyjamas and no pyjamas.
Yep. Lucky you.
So I've got two questions left because we're kind of running out of time.
Oh,
One question.
could
I
have done
know.
this for another hour and a half.
Maybe there'll be a part two.
At some point, lovely.
The first question is a bit more lighthearted. Right at the beginning of the podcast, you mentioned that you chose computer science because you were really into video games and you still are. What type of games do you
Rank your
play?
top 3 favourite video games.
Do you
of all
have a
time.
favourite console? What's your gaming life like?
Well, I bought a PS5 last year.
Okay.
It used to be PC, but
proper.
I'm just like, I'm too old for that now. Like, I just want things to work. So yeah, I bought a PS5. I don't play it that often, but the game that I've been playing recently is Elden Ring.
Okay, yeah.
Which is like a kind of role-playing action thing.
I can't tell whether Aruna was nodding in agreement or shaking it. Yeah,
Good choice.
That's a great choice.
It's hard work.
And it's not usually the final question we end a podcast with.
Ooh.
So we can end with that if you want. But this is one that...
Are we asking him to a threesome?
What's going on here?
I don't know what's going on.
Are you nervous?
He would know if we were asking him. I think we've asked you this before. Are you happy? Like with your setup, I know you've been through like...
You have asked me that before. I don't remember when.
Yeah.
It was a really inappropriate time.
It probably was.
Probably
But
like this.
I know you've moved house and all of those kind of
I have
things.
moved house.
Yeah,
You've moved house.
completely
Moved out of London.
Moved out of London.
Actually, way out.
Way in Sheffield.
Yeah.
That's not an address, so I
fine.
haven't given anything away.
He was quite ambiguous.
Yeah,
you
sorry.
narrowed it down quite quickly.
Sorry.
Just off the high street.
That's what I say.
So you've kind of like, you've changed the complete setup of your
Yes.
life realistically in the last sort of like few months and then a few years beforehand. Do you feel happy and comfortable and looking forward to what's coming next?
Yeah, I think actually this is a really nice way to end because I think me leaving Sorted was also great for Sorted because I think Kush is doing an amazing job. And every time I come in and see Kush, he's so passionate about food and I just learn so much from him and he makes me passionate about food. And I feel like my life has kind of gone away from food a little bit. You know, like when we did these things back in the day, I used to say like what restaurants I was traveling to visit and these amazing experiences that I used to have. And now I do more adventure-y stuff and it's not based around food. Food is often involved, but I don't travel for food anymore. I don't like choose destinations based on food. I choose destinations based on the mountains that I can climb.
I do think it was you leaving, in hindsight, was the best thing for you. It worked, we didn't know it, but it worked really, really well for us. Kush coming on board and doing what Kush does has completely changed a lot of what we do. The friendship that I've seen you and Kush develop over the last 3 years as well, I think has been amazing to see. And I think you're right. I think you both make each other like up your games when you come.
Each other quite a lot.
Yeah, he's great.
It's really, really great. And I'm so glad that we get to do this still. I'd be really sad if we couldn't do it. Thank you so much for
We've
being...
got a final question that we ask everyone.
He does want to do the final.
Does want to do that.
I do want to do the final. What is the one thing that everyone should cook at least once in their lifetime?
Oh, you should prep me on this. And
We've
give us
released
We've
like
never
12
prepped you for anything ever.
Yeah, and we've
This
released
week on, we're doing a dance.
12 episodes where we've asked the same question at the end.
I actually really wanted to listen to Kush's before this, but I didn't get around to it.
It's a two-parter.
Okay, what's the one thing that people should cook?
You think people should cook?
Oh, that's so hard.
It can be anything.
Oh my goodness. What do I even say to that?
No comment?
I can't say no comment, but I'm also like trying to think of something fun and I can't.
Could it be something, I don't know, that would introduce them, something really simple that would just get them combining something to get into cooking? Could it be something that has a really great basis of skill? Could there be something that is easier to make than it actually appeared?
Thank you for all those prompts, they don't help at all. Do you know what? Like, just cook breakfast. Like, get up and cook a nice breakfast. I think people probably don't give breakfast enough. You know, like you go out for dinner, you go out for lunch, but you don't often go out for breakfast, and it's one of my favourite meals. So I think it's nice to get out of bed and cook your loved one's breakfast.
Oh,
Yeah, lovely answer.
that is a lovely way to end.
Thanks.
What
Thank
a lovely, genuinely really lovely chat.
Yeah. Can we have a round of applause for James Alistair Currie?
What on earth are we doing? We have the traitors, Team B, we have the faithfuls. I'm holding a hot sauce!
It's so hard to eat.
Just keep piling up high. Oh my word.
We be the pirates of Ben's Pants.